put in my mic because, you know, I have the traffic outside. I don't have it going, but it's trafficy outside, man. Where I live, it's a small street and it's really narrow, like typical European small street, no sidewalks. And the cars fly by here like, I don't know, like things are on fire. So drives me a little crazy, but I'm going to use this mic and make sure that you all can hear me. So I want to tell you right off the bat that if you want me to do a reading for you, you need to type your question into the comments, and I'm happy to read for you while I'm doing these lives. So welcome to my weekly live stream. My name is Crystal Lynn Bell, and this is spiritual guidance for the badass butterfly. So a badass butterfly is someone, anyone, man or woman, doesn't matter who you are, what your gender is, but the thing that's important is that you understand that you were once a caterpillar, meaning you were a little being on earth and you had a limited perspective because you were always down low, or sometimes you could climb up higher and get a better perspective. But for the most part, you're an earthbound creature, you were. And then you went through metamorphosis. You went from being earthbound into this cocoon. Your body changed on you because that's what caterpillars do. Like, I used to think that a caterpillar spun a cocoon, and then the caterpillar, like the cocoon somehow hardened, and then the caterpillar broke out of that. But that's not how it works. Actually, the caterpillar's body itself, that little sluggy thing, actually hardens and becomes the actual body. Well, sorry, it becomes the cocoon. So the caterpillar's body hardens and it wraps one strand of silk around its waist to attach it to the leaf or to the bark or the stalk or the limb of whatever it's going to hang from. And this one piece of silk thread is really, really strong and it holds it in place. And what happens is the caterpillar like hangs out there and its body gets really hard. And then the body hardens, and then the thing inside, which is the butterfly, comes alive and takes over. And it starts developing and it starts moving its wings around. And then it has to break through the hard body of its old self. This is why butterflies are badass, because not only do you have to like break free of a cocoon, you have to break free of your own limiting body. You have to break free of your three-dimensional self, or your three-dimensional self, which is earthbound and hard. You have to cut through, and then you have to come out, let your wings like shake it off. Let your wings dry, right? Flap them around, and then you got to fly, right? So this is what spiritual guidance for the badass butterfly is all about. It's all about going through this transformation process and then coming out the other side, a badass butterfly who is ready to own their badass butterfly wings and to create. So I don't know if you know this, but after a butterfly becomes a butterfly, they aren't just there to be pretty and to entertain us with their kind of flights and, you know, their crazy flights and, you know, their beautiful wings. They're not there for decoration. They actually have a purpose, and their purpose is to create, which is why I love this metaphor of the butterfly, because I'm a butterfly. I'm here to create. I just made a post today on Instagram, or maybe it was yesterday actually on Instagram, or maybe it was this morning. I can't even remember. But the point is, we are creators, and we're creative when we're in the caterpillar mode. Not saying that caterpillars are not creative, but once you become a butterfly, your job is to create. Your job is to give birth to the things that are inside your heart, your desires, your wants, your needs. Give birth to yourself, whatever creative energy source God sends through you. This is your time to create. All right, so I'm going to give you this week's spiritual guidance using my tarot and using some information from the sun. And we have Mercury going retrograde. I think it's on the 31st, which would be Halloween. Ooh, spooky. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to give you a tarot read. And then actually, I'm going to sign off a little bit early. We're going to keep this nice and short today because I have to take my dog, who's over there sleeping so peacefully. He had such a great play day at the dog park today. I'm going to take him for a little walk before I go out tonight because, you know, I go out. Look, I'm a badass butterfly. I socialize. I'm a social butterfly. I'm a social badass butterfly. And tonight I'm going out with my friends. We're going to a storytelling event. We're going to listen to some people tell some stories. Maybe we'll tell some stories. Who knows? But it's going to be fun. I live in Florence, Italy, just in case you didn't know, in case you don't know me. I live in Florence, Italy, and I love it. I'm learning how to speak Italian. And it's really great to be here, trying out my badass butterfly wings. Like, I'm a fledgling badass butterfly, but my wings are getting really strong. I'm making leaps and strides, and really, I guess I should talk in terms of flight. I'm really flapping my wings, getting along. All right, let me tell you about what's going on right now. So today is October 26th. And the sun is currently, new moon calendar, the sun is currently in Scorpio. It went into the sign of Scorpio on the 23rd. And we have, on October 28th, on Monday, we have a new moon. So this is going to be really important, the information that I'm going to give you today. We are going to talk about how to use the sun and the new moon in Scorpio to create something wonderful for yourself. And then, because Mercury goes retrograde on the 31st of October, which I guess is Thursday or something like that, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then I'm going to take a couple of tarot cards and give you some advice from Spirit for the week. And then we're going to go. All right? I'm going to go take the dog for a walk in the meadow. All right, so new moon and sun in Scorpio. So Scorpio rules the 8th house of the zodiac, and that is known as the house of transformation. It's known as the house of death and rebirth. And it's a really, for me, is one of my most favorite times of year. I am obsessed with the death and rebirth process. I'm obsessed with transformation, which is why I call myself a badass butterfly, right? This is important for everyone, whether you are a Scorpio or not, right? I need you all to understand that even though you are not born under the sign of Scorpio, we all, every time the sun moves from one sign to the other, we all become that sign. So the sun represents masculine authority. So as the sun moves through the different constellations, then it's illuminating the masculine authority within us. And we are given an opportunity to expand our minds, to expand our vision, to expand our material world into wherever the sun is. So right now, oh, and I'll say, just to make this easier, when the moon is new or when the moon is black, that's when the moon is new. You can't really see the moon when it's new. It's just the tiniest little sliver. When the moon is new, she acts like the sun. She becomes, so the moon normally represents our divine feminine self, our feminine authority. The sun represents our masculine authority. So when the moon is full, she's fully in her feminine. It's like, pregnant woman, full moon, mother. You can see clearly the moon's beauty when she's fully illuminated, when the moon is full. But when the moon is new, she's super powerful. Don't think she's not powerful just because you can't see her. She's more powerful because now she's in creative mode. She's in active mode. And basically, on October 28th, the moon is basically saying to you, come here, honey, tell me what it is you want, because we are about to make this happen right now. So what we want to do when the moon is new is think about what it is we want to manifest. We want to think about what our heart desires. We want to think about what it is we need, how we want to transform, because right now we have the sun and the new moon in Scorpio. So both the divine masculine aspect of ourselves and the divine feminine aspect of ourselves are working together to take us to what we want. So it's like saying the masculine side, which is the left brain, the analytical, rational brain in us, is going to use its logic to help take us to what we want. So now is a great time to be thinking about goals. I'm thinking about things that are very tangible, things that are measurable, and how to go about getting them. So writing out the steps for getting them, making the phone calls to make things happen, making your plans, taking action on your resources, being active right now is the right thing to do while we have the sun in Scorpio along with the new moon in Scorpio. Now, with the feminine part of ourself, the moon in Scorpio, the moon is having you open up your intuition. Scorpio is super intuitive, super psychic, super knowing. They know stuff. Be careful because they know stuff. Don't try to pull the wool over the eyes of these people. The men and women alike, they're very, very intelligent. They get knowledge not just from book learning, because they love reading, they love learning, they love listening, they love absorbing, right? They're they're very much in the world, but they also get a lot of information from above. So these people are powerful channels. They make wonderful healers and spirit guides, shamans, energy workers, people that can take you on a transformational journey. So when you're dealing with the new moon and the sun in Scorpio, you want to make sure that you have a very you want to make sure that you're using both the masculine part of yourself and the feminine part of yourself. Now, again, this is true of every sign when you're working with the new moon, because when the moon is always new in the sign where the sun is. So when the sun and the new moon are working together, you're using both your masculine self and your feminine self to take you to whatever it is you desire, right? Because whenever you're dealing with the new moon, you're working on what you want to call into your life, what you want to manifest in the three-dimensional world. The point that I want to make, though, with Scorpio is that because it is a feminine sign, Scorpio is a feminine sign, and because it is so psychic and so intuitive and so sensual and so cued in to the three-dimensional world, you really want to use your feminine intuition. You want to use your feeling nature. You want to use your sensual nature. You want to tune in to everything that the feminine has to offer. And you want to use that to get what it is you want. Now, I don't mean go out into the three-dimensional world and flirt your way into what you want, although you could do that. That would be perfectly acceptable, especially right now. You might find that your sexuality is really heightened. Man, in the dog park today, I could not keep my dog off of every female dog that's walked by, and it's been this way for the last 3 days. My little Apollo, he's not castrated. I'm really working to not castrate him. I'm working on training him and getting him to be really obedient. And let me tell you something. This dog is so good. He's so obedient. He's just such a good dog. Anyway, so we were at the park today, and he is humping all over every female dog that walks by. He puts his nose right up in there with JJ, and I'm going, Apollo, no. And, I tell him, leave it. And he looks over at me with that big, goofy dog smile. He totally looks at me just like that. He goes, and then another female dog walks by, and then he goes, like dog, crazy dog. And every moment he gets, when I'm not looking, he tries to mount them. The dogs are going, hey, Apollo. The girls are all sterilized. So he's not going to be, getting any interest from them, but they do like him because he's so sweet. He's a good dog, he's got a good energy. So he's very well loved at the dog park. So you all might find also, though, that your sexual energy, your creative self, it might come out as sexual, little bump and grind, but it also might come out in the form of creativity, in the form of sensuality. Maybe you feel like you want to eat more rich foods. Maybe you are enjoying the drink a little bit more. Your alcoholic beverages are tasting a little bit better. There's just more sensual fun when the sun and the new moon are together in Scorpio. It's really such a magical time. So look, I'm going to leave it at that with my moon and sun talk because I do have to go. But I'm going to take cards and I'm going to throw in a little bit of information about Mercury retrograde because I said Mercury goes retrograde on the 31st. And it lasts for 3 weeks. So please, first of all, I'm going to tell you this because if I have another person tell me, and this is after I have said this, okay? If they tell me that they have purchased a computer or a car or a refrigerator or a washer or a dryer while Mercury is retrograde, I am going to spank them. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to spank them because you do not do that. You don't buy anything electronic or anything with moving parts while Mercury is retrograde because Mercury is the planet of communication and it's the planet of movement. So if Mercury is retrograde, that basically means that like Mercury and the Earth are moving in opposite directions. They're not moving like this, like Mercury's going one way and Earth is going another. It is, but it's an orbit, okay? So it basically means that Mercury's over here going like this and Earth is following behind, right? And there's that moment where they're crossing. And this is when Mercury's retrograde and this is when it sucks, okay? It doesn't suck. It's just that when you have this retrograde motion with any planet, whether it's Mercury or Saturn or Jupiter, what you're supposed to do is go and redo stuff. You redo everything. So you rethink, you renegotiate, you recommit, what happened? What happened? Am I still live streaming? Yes, I am still live streaming. Okay. Right. Okay. So you redo things. Although my computer just shut down, am I going to get dropped? No, I'm still going. Okay. So you redo things. So while this Mercury is retrograde, you don't want to buy a new computer. Now, if your computer is broken, taking your computer in to get it repaired while Mercury is retrograde is a really good idea. And if you have a contract, so another thing you're not supposed to do while Mercury is retrograde is sign new contracts, because the communication is off. Mercury is our planet of communication, and there's no communication, or when communication is compromised, you don't want to be signing long-term contracts, or things that can't be easily negotiated or changed once you and the negotiating person have a clearer view, right? So the thing to do right now is to redo, review, renegotiate, rethink, and slow down. So here's why I like Mercury retrograde. It's a really good excuse to sit back and just reevaluate, to rethink, to reorganize your plans, restructure. And every time you come up against a problem, like between now and the next 3 weeks, I want you to write this down. I want you to reevaluate, review, reorganize, rethink. So let's say that there's, like, for example, with me and my landlord, I've been complaining about this on Instagram. My landlord is not handling his business with taking care of the repairs that need to be done on the house. And so the house is starting to fall apart because he's not taking care of stuff, right? We have an issue with rain and water coming into the house, and now there's a lot of water damage. And, it's something that's been going on for months. Now, though, is Mercury retrograde. And now is the time for me to write him and to re-up my commitment to getting all the little details that need to be fixed around the house, getting those done, and getting him on board with that. So you can bet that over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be, taking pictures, emailing, making phone calls, and getting repairmen in to get this job done. That's how you use Mercury retrograde. Likewise, when you're dealing with other people, let's say you're dealing with healing within yourself, right? You're dealing with healing within yourself, and you notice that maybe during this time you feel stuck, or you feel particularly emotional or particularly heavy. What you want to do is reevaluate whatever situation is causing you to feel this way. You want to review what you've done in the past. You want to re-up your commitment to healing, and all of these kinds of things. I hope this makes sense. So look, I don't know if I've got anybody listening to me right now. It says I've got 2 people watching, and I need to hop off this call. So for you 2 people who are watching, if you want me to do a reading for you for this week, please type your question into the message box here, and I will happily read for you particularly. But for right now, I'm going to take a card for all of us on the whole for this week, and I'm going to see what Spirit has to say for us this week. Okay, we've got the new moon in Scorpio. So in my mind, I've got taboos, sexuality, money. These are all Scorpio things that we deal with Scorpio. So those are all in my head. They're all swimming around. Power, super important. Power is super important while we're dealing with Scorpio. So let's see what we come up with here. Spirit wants to let us know, because I feel that this is a really powerful moon. So Spirit is saying that we need to go forward with this time, with the new moon, with a very open heart, and to understand that we are about to give birth and to plan for a newborn baby. So I'm going to explain this very quickly. Because Scorpio represents the death and rebirth process, while we're going to be doing a lot of releasing of the old self, the old values, the old mindset, things that are no longer serving us are going to be purged right now over the next three weeks that remain for the sun in this sign. The thing is, we need to let the dead things die, right? We need to let the dying die, is what I'm trying to say. Let the old self die, because that's going to be happening during winter, right? And then when spring comes around, we're going to be opening ourselves up to new life. So right now, my friends, we are in the middle. We're at the starting point of the death of the old self. So there's going to be a lot of challenges coming up where we are challenged to hold on to those old attachments. But now the spirit is saying, hey, yeah, you can keep doing things the old way, but the old ways want to die. We don't want to be a butterfly with a caterpillar's perspective. We don't want to be a butterfly that's afraid to fly. We don't want to be a butterfly that's afraid to lay an egg. Caterpillars don't lay eggs. Butterflies lay tons of eggs, right? We don't want to be a butterfly that eats nectar, right? Butterflies eat nectar. Caterpillar eats foliage, right? So we don't want to be a we don't want to be a butterfly that's eating like a caterpillar. We won't be able to fly, you know? So we have to let the old self die. We have to let the old habits die. But we also have to nurture the new self, and we have to nurture the new habits and, ease ourselves into the new way. So, in other words, don't take on too much. Like, yes, think big, definitely, but also be really nurturing and loving of yourself at this time, because this is your time to actually thrive your life in a real way. And having unrealistic expectations for yourself is not going to do you any good. Trying to bite off more than you can chew. Honey, you're a butterfly. You need your body to be light. You need your weight to be light. So don't take on a whole bunch of projects and be half-ass about them. Take on one or two projects that you can give yourself to and manage, and also have a social life. Also take care of yourself, where there's time to prepare your meals, time to take care of your hair, take care of your skin, your nails, time to go to church or where however you worship, whether it's watching inspiring video on YouTube, or going to church, or going to synagogue, whatever it is you do, right? Connecting to God is really important. You need to nurture those things, and you need time for that. So I think that's enough for me to talk about today. I'm going to be back next week at this exact same time. That's Saturdays at, let's see, it's 4 o'clock in Italy. So it's 9 o'clock. No, so it's 10 o'clock if you're on the East Coast of the United States. So Eastern Standard Time, it's 10 o'clock here every week on Saturday. And if you're on the West Coast, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'll be here next Saturday. There are no questions for people who want to be read for today, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you here next week. Bye for now. Whoops. There. Whoops. Wrong. Nope. How do you stop it? You stop it here. End stream. Totally sure I want to end my